Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Dave, an hour with Dave. And today we have a special guest here, a friend of mine's, Pastor Philip Fisher. He's an ordained minister and he also works heavily in the community. And we're going to spend some time with him and talk about some of the activities he does, other than making sure that he tries to save as many souls as possible.
Amen.
Pastor,
Well,
ordained?
yes, I'm the senior pastor of the Center of Universal Divinity.
Ooh,
I have actually currently a church out in Haiti that's being built by two of my ministers that I ordained and trained, and a church being set up and developed in Santo Domingo as well.
great.
Um, we have a food pantry and food bank program here in Philadelphia. We averaged out anywhere from 1,500 to 3,500 families that we actually minister to through our food ministry on a monthly basis.
Great. Now, tell me, when you built this, how long has it been that you've been building these churches? In
Uh,
Haiti, did you say?
yes, the one in Haiti will be open. It is actually sort of a makeshift shack right now, so it will be fully in operation by this time next year.
Oh,
And it's
amazing.
been touch and go, kind of hit the ground hard running over in Haiti, uh, especially with some of the earthquakes and natural problems they have there. Uh, but God's been with us, and it's been a struggle, but it's getting there. So
I mean, I can imagine that you have a lot of issues going on. One with the government, one with the religious end of Haiti
yes,
itself.
yes.
Uh,
Well,
what's some of the things you run into?
you have a funny situation. Most of the things is actually religious driven in Haiti. So either you're a Christian or you're practicing some sort of tribal or uh, like a voodoo type of style of practice there. Um, and then the politics also take a beat off of that. And you're either a corrupt politician or you're a politician tied to something spiritual. And that's kind of like the only two options you have.
All right. And in this church, you're going to be, other than beside the religious part of it, you going to be doing any educational or any.
We're going to be doing, we have actually an ongoing project of mine that I've started about 5 years ago, which has been reaching as many ministers, as many activists as possible, who's on site in Haiti to actually help distribute free textbooks, um, reading material, utensils, everything that's needed for a child to learn is to be there, and everything is needed for to help the parent learn what the child is learning is also we're trying to distribute out there as well.
And are you run into other things besides spiritual, like health issues?
There's a big problem, especially with the children's churches. Sorry, not children's hospitals in Haiti. The medical beds are inadequate. You have a very low supply, especially antiviral, antibiotic medications for kids. There's really a lot of problems in the huge gap of budget allocated towards those types of things, which you would think it would be Maine, but they really don't have it in their budget as a national budget for Haiti to actually allocate towards basic needs like that.
I mean, and it's rough. I mean, Haiti's a poor country to begin with, so I'm sure that plays a big role in the things you're
Well,
doing.
definitely, you got to think about it this way. Malnutrition is a common thing there. It happens here in the United States, but it's not as common as it is in Haiti. You have more than 70% of the population is developing with some sort of degree of malnutrition there.
Wow.
Statistically speaking, you have a situation in where you're going from malnutrition to a government position in the government, where you're a leader and you're making policies. You're not able to think clearly. You're not able to make the best judgment decisions, and that happens quite often. Many of the politicians actually take long breaks because there's serious issues there.
Wow, wow, that's a shame just to think about the poor kids and the mothers. I guess it's so stressful.
Yeah,
The
we
entire
actually have a
family.
huge call for maternity clothing. Most of the things that we actually get a real big call for is maternity type of setups.
How many times a year do you ship products to?
It can be anywhere from monthly to bi-monthly process. It's really based off when we have the funds to get the crates. So My office is over at 5220 North Master Street, so everybody's welcome to drop off things there. But most importantly, monetary donations is really key. We need those donations. We need that type of support to continue shipping out those
You
needed
you
meals.
send crates. You
Yes.
don't send cargo.
No, you do. We send cargo traits like the 24-footers type of
The
right,
metal crates. Okay.
and we try to fill those as much as possible with shipping bins.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's got to be expensive. Is that most of the cost you get in? So you're in need of maternity stuff, children clothes, shoes.
Mostly a lot of school supplies.
Okay.
It's the simplest things that you go to Dollar Tree, Dollar Zone, and get that we take for granted. Those go a long way. A pack of pencils at Dollar Tree can actually supply about 5 kids.
Wow. Okay. Well, listen, people, we need the back the people up in Haiti. I mean, they're going through enough. Let's switch a little bit and what's happening in Dominican Republic. You said you have something over there.
Yeah, it's not as large. It's more of a missionary outreach program, where it's as funds come in and available for that. So once we really have something worked out where we have a site location, a strong enough congregation developing or following there, we'll be beginning to look in the same direction as we did with Haiti.
So you're gonna look to probably build a church
Yes.
and a school there.
Yes. Haiti, Dominican Republic, as well as Puerto Rico and um, I always pronounce the name wrong, but it's also in Morocco, is a couple of locations that we're working on in developing ministry networks.
Now, you just recently sent a cargo not too long ago to Puerto Rico, right?
Yes. About a week ago, we sent a huge crate over to Puerto Rico. It was roughly a $8,000 budget that supplies everything, shipping, and the Lord has been so with us with this whole process. In a short amount of time, we were able to get a lot of things together. Unfortunately, some politicians in the area, like Daniel Boyle, who try to throw himself into the mix and try to reap the benefits of that. Unfortunately, that's the sad things about the developments of politics these days in this community.
Politics plays there's a lot of ugly politics going on. Washington, Harrisburg, obviously here in the city. I mean, every time you turn around, there's somebody getting indicted for something. It's a mess.
Well, not when you're dealing with a humanitarian crisis like what's going on in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, but to try to actually, you're saying he tried to take advantage?
No, he took advantage. I definitely will call Boyle out on this, and I would love for him to come out to our next community meeting to explain his actions in that, because the truth is that we do not need representatives in the second congressional district that does something like that.
Whoa, I'll remember that. I'll remember that. All right. Well, listen. Let's move on here. You're also involved in the community NAS.
Yes, Neighborhood Sub-Advisory Committee is part of the GPAS NAC, which is Neighborhood Advisory Committee. I am a appointed member. I didn't go through the traditional process of votes for this time around, but previously I had one of the highest votes counts record. I operate more with RCO zoning issues and else with community outreach. So I work closely with Johan Kim, who's Mr. Kim there is the CEO and director of GPAS, which is the Greater Philadelphia Asian Social Service Center. And he's actually been a mentor and has known me since I was 4 years old. So a lot of the administration and outreach work I learned from him.
All right. All right. Sounds like a good man. Good man. And what else do you do? Do you get involved with the community? I mean, as far as with the NAS.
Well, with the NAS, we're responsible for actually community engagement. Whatever the needs of the community is, we pull it together as a policy, and we kind of have a semi-autonomous nature with GPAS. So we're self-governed. So we actually go out, we interview people, we talk to them in the community, find out what's really going on. If there's a after-hour spot there, we do the paperwork, we talk to people in the city to get it shut down. If there is illicit drug uses going on in abandoned houses and stuff, we document the information, we coordinate that with community liaisons from the 35th, the 25th, and so forth, and then we work on getting it shut down.
Oh, wow.
So our work is really all volunteer. We're all volunteers, and we're really our job is to be the first line of defense. What's going on inside the community, and immediately make policies, work with the city council, and do something to ratify it.
Wow, that's a heavy load to be carrying to be able to cover all that. Because I know you're also running into issues with drug corners and.
Yes, we actually have someone in the community who just walks around with a gun. He distributes narcotics in the community, and he actually posts up, which is less than a block from a high school.
Cool.
We recently won a victory where we actually removed some of the drug traffickers who were operating as quote unquote a auto mechanics in AutoZone parking lot. So we won that victory. We got them removed from there, and this has allowed a increase in sales for the local grocer and for AutoZone and for the other businesses because now people are actually feel safe to actually be out there. So they didn't. So it's been a big challenge, but it's one thing that we're working on conquering.
How's the crime in your area?
The problem is lack of communication and support from the 35th. Honestly, we have a high crime rate. In fact, just the other day there was a shooting. Less than 48 hours ago, there was actually a woman beaten out outside with a gun. So, unfortunately, we do need more transparency, more communication, and open dialogue with the local officials and with the 35th to take immediate action. I think the district attorneys in the 35th precinct don't coordinate things well.
Have you been able to work with like your state rep, your council person at large?
Unfortunately,
council person that's active now. Who is the council person for you?
I believe we're still falling into the lines of Cindy Bass.
Okay.
When we did the cleanup, she was nowhere to be found. Her people were nowhere to be found. We had over 100 trash bags that was mostly filled up with drug paraphernalia and illegal dump site that was actually in between a high school, a middle school, and an elementary.
Wow.
And her team never showed up.
And did you try to reach out to her? Find out why?
We actually posted it in live on Facebook, tagging her into it and asking her where you guys at. She actually came to our meeting. She said she had an action team. Her action team was inactive.
Good action team.
Yeah, I think they were. They decided to take a nap. Well, we did all the hard work.
Well, we got to remember that because elections are coming up. It's very important.
Yes.
And everybody needs to understand what they need to vote for. They need to vote for the person, not necessarily the party. And remember that the same people that we're talking about probably have been in office for a long time.
Oh, definitely. Sidney Bass, Boyle, all these guys, Dawkins, they've all been in office for a long time. Einstein says the definition of insanity is repeating the same process and thinking you're going to get a different outcome. It doesn't work. Yeah. You can't keep saying that we're going to go down this road when you know the road doesn't lead anywhere.
Yeah. No, but but they keep going down the same road and they keep making the same promises. How long do you say Social Security is a problem? I mean, I can go on and on and on and on about each segment with all this, but let's keep. We're gonna get ready to take a little break. Everybody stand by. We're gonna be taking a quick little commercial break because we need to have little commercials here and make sure we got sponsors around. And we're going to get back and talk to Pastor Fisher and some of the other activities that he has going on. Just hang in there.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. And you're on Usala Media. Your host is David Torres, and you're on an hour with Dave. And we have our special guest is Pastor Fisher. And we've been talking to him quite a bit, Pastor, in your running around and all the stuff that you do, because I know it goes on and on and on. You feed people in the community. You do all kinds. You're running into your political issues that you have to deal with that you're not getting support with. Tell us some of the things that's going on with you.
Well, let's take, for example, the safe ejection sites that recently we all had discussions about. Everyone in the city, when out of nowhere, city council says, hey, this place is opening up. We didn't know about it, but it's opening up.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it sends the wrong message to the people in the community. Especially sends the wrong message to those kids. They're now growing up thinking it's okay to do dope. It's okay to do these illicit drugs. These types of policies are undermining the development of our communities. They're undermining our authority as well. And it's also setting up for failure, because you're now actually setting the system, people up to be part of the system.
Sure. And one of the arguments that I have about these sites are, if you're telling people, go out and get your drugs, come back, we're going to have a safe place for you to get high, and then you can go back out.
Oh, no. It's wait. You gotta go through the steps, though. You go into a room, you shoot up. You go into the next room, it's a lounge for you to relax. But in between that, you have a medical staff team on standby for if anything happens for overdose. You're giving a primary care provider. So, not giving, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Our taxpayers are paying for these people
Okay.
to have a primary care provider, a nursing staff on stand, and a lounge area to enjoy a high of an illegal substance that we're saying that it's okay for them to shoot up in this place. And
So in a nutshell, you're telling people to go, and I hope that I'm trying to get the head of our prosecution team in here, because I need him to explain to me, how is he going to stop drug dealing when you're telling them to go purchase the drugs illegally, come back and use them, because you're not gonna arrest the drug dealers because.
well, the key thing also is most of these people aren't from Philadelphia. They're not from my community. They're not from our city.
You're referring to the drug dealers.
Yes. Not just the drug dealers, but some of the addicts. If you go to Kinston Avenue, a lot of them don't have Philadelphia IDs.
Right.
They're coming in from other areas because they have a safe place to go get high. And while they're there, they're given housing assistance. They've got a social worker there to work with them. Currently, even that they go outside, since the buildings aren't fully operational in some locations, to give them food stamps, to put them on the public system. So hardworking Americans have to take care of people to enjoy their high and don't want to work.
Well, and some of them do have issues, but I personally don't believe in a safe house philosophy. But I do believe that money should have been used to provide additional services.
Some of them,
beds.
Yes, some of them have issues, but you can't say, okay, they're having issues, but you can't say, well, since you're having this depression, we're not going to treat that. We're going to help you get high.
Right.
That's what they're saying.
But that's exactly my point. That you're giving them a way to get high, which they're never going to deal with the depression with whatever reason they're
depressed.
in there. Whatever reason they're in there, but they're going to come out and you're going to make sure that they're okay. So it's a revolving door.
It's a paycheck.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a paycheck.
Yeah.
People are getting. It's a way where you keep dealers on the streets, which means there's always going to be someone you're locking up, you're cutting deals with. You put them back on the streets. You got addicts who you're going to have your informants, get more people in. It's a revolving door. People are getting caught up into a system that will be never ending.
Yeah. And Well, we all know what Bernie and Biden wanted to do. Bernie said the day he goes into office, he's legalizing, for starters, marijuana.
First of all, Bernie and Biden, I don't know if they're going to remember that by that time. God forbid they get in office. I doubt they're going to remember.
Well, hopefully Biden has a good GPS system to make sure he gets to the White House.
That's if he remembers how to use that even. I'm still trying to figure out. I've asked numerous people, what's Super Thursday? What is Super Thursday? I have not yet found that out.
But I think it's a special day for him to get his other votes going on. And in the community, you're also dealing with immigration issues, right?
Yes. It's the Logan Alany corridor in Philadelphia is one of the most diverse regions in the entire state of Pennsylvania. Statistically speaking, almost pretty much every language that's currently spoken on the planet is actually spoken there, from Laos mainland Mandarin to Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Arabic, all the languages you can think of. Even some tribal languages from Navajo, Apache, Cherokee is even spoken there because we have a Native American population there as well.
Wow.
So we have a diverse array of linguistically, culturally, everything there in that community. And it's really interesting. When it comes to immigration, it's across the board and across the demographics. There's a lot of people who have legitimate asylum claims, who were victimized in their country. They come to Philadelphia because it's a sanctuary area, and they're just lost because really there's only a couple of places literally a handful of places in Philadelphia, or actually in Pennsylvania even, that deals with asylum. So you have a situation where most of them are walking around trying to figure out what they're going to do with themselves because they don't know how to get the assistance they need. So my team, we help with preparing paperwork. We help find them attorney. We work with some pro bono attorneys, some attorneys who would do it for free to really barely anything. They just need, I had one attorney who only charged a lady $800 to deal with her entire case. And it was a case that was worth more than $20,000. The Lord blessed us with a wonderful team to actually sit down and dedicate hours to do an immigration. Just a simple citizenship form can take up to 5 hours, 4 hours to do, give or take the type of case it is. So I have a really amazing staff that works with me.
Well, I mean, because some of the women I've even met that they were abused at what country that they're fleeing from. Plus, here, you know, they're in relationships that are abusive. They don't know where to turn to. They're scared.
A few years ago, I had a case where a young lady was brought over from Africa to New Jersey, and she was trafficked here in Philadelphia and a few other regions. And someone reached out from Facebook and messaged me. And we were able through various, felt like a spy movie, cloak and dagger techniques. Had to tell her, all right, look, go to this corner, drop this note off here. And it was like a really kind of deep throat type of style, old day movie tactics, try to communicate with each other. And she was actually part of a network of several women throughout the East Coast and Midwest, were locked into these apartment buildings and were trafficked. She was used to pay off debts for the person that brought her over and to smuggle heroin and other drugs inside of her body. Wow. It became a life-threatening situation where she became impregnant. And once that happens, you lose value, and they either kill you or kill the baby. And those are the only two options that was there. So we had to, I had some really amazing Uber drivers who work with me. They don't charge. One of them just agreed. She drove all the way out there. We had coordination with law enforcement, Dreamcatchers, which is the organization at that time that we were working with, and we had got her into a safe house, and was able to find a family member actually in Illinois, and was able to get the money together and fly her over there.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah, and especially that she actually had a relative in the United States that we were able to track down.
That's got to be scary.
It was one of those things where I lost sleep even a month or two afterwards. I wasn't sleeping over the whole process. But human trafficking does happen. It happens quite often in our neighborhoods. People don't realize it. Immigration isn't this person wants to take our jobs and they're just illegally here. That's ridiculous. The real thing is you have people who, most illegal immigrants are people who are here, who came here legally and overstayed their visa by some simple means. They weren't paying attention to the calendar, family crisis issues, they lost money, they were robbed. There's a lot of immigration students who lose their status because they were just worried about exams and their studies and living expense and didn't pay attention to their visa status. So there's a lot of legitimate cases that people actually need help with.
Yeah, I could just imagine. I mean, you know what? When you talk about sanctuary cities, Philadelphia not only sanctuary cities, but sanctuaries. You used to be able to go to any church to get sanctuary.
Yes. It's becoming a little scary right now. Many of us don't know where that stands at. It's right now, far as we know, it still upholds with most agents. They're not going to walk into a religious building, not just the traditional sense of a Christian church, but any type of religious structure. They're not going to walk in and grab someone. So we do have that still somewhat standing. However, there was an incident where immigration grabbed a mother in Philadelphia who was dropping off her daughter at a elementary school.
Oh.
So that's where the scary thing is that we don't know where a lot of these policies are falling because it really isn't a judge. The agent that's there in front of you is the one who's making the decisions on your case. So the new regulations is a little scary. I understand, trust me, I fully understand what's going on in the White House and why they're making it because I deal with immigration issues. So I see it from my end why they would want certain policies in place. It makes sense. They're not trying to attack a specific group. They're not trying to be malicious. There has to be reform in it.
Well, I think immigration really needs to have somebody to actually do sit down and come up with a plan and put something on the table, because immigration gets politically used.
Right, but that's why I said I can't.
Every election.
That's right. That's why I said that I see what's going on with the White House, and I can't 100% disagree with it because it's not going to be solved overnight. It's not going to be solved in 4 years. It's going to take a while to solve because the issue is so dynamic.
And to be honest with you, I believe that the people who really need help, who are running, who need sanctuary, who need help, they're getting mixed in the bad elements that are coming in. And I think that the bad element situation plays a horrible role because it seems to be overseeing the whole thing. You know, when you have in one state, you had a 20-year-old who was going to school because that's in that state the regulation said up to 20 years old you were able to stay in school, and a 17-year-old who raped 2 little girls. I mean.
Well, like I said, it's such a dynamic, it's such a interconnected and cross-pattern situation that it's not an easy resolve.
No.
You can't say everybody is this. That's why I said this administration, what's going on in the White House, it's not a let's go after these people. It's really, Trump said it best. He didn't say immigrants, he didn't say Mexicans and all these things. He said those criminals. Right. Those who broke the law are the ones that he wants to try to reform the policies to go after. That's what really the new reform policies are going after. People are taking advantage of the system and going under the curtains.
All right, this is an interesting topic, and I love going over and over with it. We're gonna go on a quick break, and we're gonna come back and we can talk about this for a little bit more.
Regresando a la escuela, sí tenía miedo. No sabía si iba a poder hacerlo. Una de las maestras que está ahí es la señora Araceli. Ella siempre tomaba su tiempo ayudándome a mí. 50% es entrando por la puerta, el otro 50% es haciendo el trabajo. Nunca es muy tarde para obtenerlo.
Encuentra clases gratis para adultos cerca de ti en completatudiploma.org.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it.
We all of warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man. Let's put a ride home.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. And again, you're on listening to Ushala Media, and you're on the show with Dave, and it's an hour with Dave. And we have Pastor Fisher here, and we've been going over some very interesting point of views. And just to close the one piece up with immigration, it's a very confusing and challenging issue.
Well, it's confusing for the average person. Challenging all across the board. Hands down, it's completely challenging. And the reason I say that in that way is because average person looks at it and says, "Oh, they're just going after everybody." But like I said earlier, it's not that they're going after everybody. He's being very specific about what's going on. The new regulation, if you go on the immigration website, I encourage everyone to go there. Stop listening to the neighbor. Stop listening to the person on the bus. Go on. The government puts everything on there, and this administration has been very meticulous about doing that. The moment a new regulation, new memo comes out, memos even, is published on the website.
Oh, beautiful.
They call it the charge-off type of situation. If you, in any way that they think is going to become a burden on the government, the federal government, and federal taxpayers, they have the right to stop you from being a U.S. citizen, which is true. You shouldn't be if you're becoming a citizen so you can collect public benefits, then that's a burden on this country that we shouldn't take on because you're making a conscious decision to be a burden on this country. You're not making a decision on being a citizen. You're making a decision to be taken care of.
Well, and when we're talking about the ones that they're going after, it's criminal activities. And right now, we have in our prison system an overflow of criminals from all types of countries. And then in the prison system itself, it's a problem because even there they reach out publicly. So, it's it's not only Mexicans and not people from Ecuador. It's all over.
It's all over, and that's what I said. It's a crossing boundaries and diversity when you're dealing with immigration, and that's why I clearly said what Trump said clearly was criminals. He didn't target Mexicans, Ecuadorians, and so forth, even though he used them as a term as a reference or explaining himself at times. He clearly stated that he's talking about those who are breaking the laws, who are locked up, and are asking to be a burden of of an actual taxpayer in this country, as U.S. citizens. That's who he's talking about.
Yeah, because let's face it. A child that was born here at 2 years old, raised here, parents that haven't done anything else but try to come after the American dream here. Every race in this country, more or less, somehow has gotten an immigrant issue behind them.
Yes.
I mean, the Italians, the Jewish,
everybody. That's what America is.
Everybody.
There's no such thing as the idea of white America. Okay, Let's be real honest. America was built off of natives, African slaves, Irish, Japanese. There's so many people who came over in the early days to make this country of what we have today. There's no way you can call it Black America, White America, Asian America. There's none of that. It's America. At the end of the day, that's all it is. And I have to reference Socrates and the idea of a citizen, the Credo dialogue. It's living everything for your country is also living everything for yourself.
Right. Which makes a lot of sense.
That is the greatest role of a citizen. Socrates killed himself when he could have ran from prison. Why? Because he said it was his burden as a citizen. He has to give his life in order to live.
Sure.
And that's the reality of it. And that's the burden of a great citizen. Obviously, none of us is that a great idea.
We're not
that sublime.
I don't know if I'm going to go that deep.
But it gives you an understanding of politically when you look at this from the standpoint of immigration and everything, obviously a person who is with their hand out is not in the ideal role as a citizen. They're only here because
Yeah, but remember, we've had incidents where immigrants who were brought here as a child served
That's
in
not
the military.
right.
served
But
in
there's a
his-
difference there. I said a criminal and a person who's just having
Right.
their hand out.
But that's where that's what I'm talking about.
Right,
There's a
That's a
difference.
whole different category there. You're talking about like someone with a dreamer status. You're talking about someone who even came here under the radar or whatever, but they turned around and said, "I'm going to give my life." Again, like what Socrates said, "I'm going to give my life for this," and put themselves in the armed forces, put themselves in a position where they're going to fight for the American dream.
Right. And that's where we need to look at different. I'm interested. Another little tidbit about you. You're writing a book.
Yes, a journey of the Shamatic Christian. I am not only
Journey of
a Shamatic Christian.
All right, now you're going to really enlighten me and my audience on what a Shamatic Christian is.
I am an ordained minister, but I've also been formally trained and ordained as a shaman by people within the Cherokee Nation. My mentor is a shaman herself. She trained me in the ways of our native tribe. And as a shaman, it does, and I have to clear, it's not a religion in the terms that most people get freaked out. Like, oh, you're talking like it's this other religion that you're kind of mixed. No, shamanism is really a question of connecting to one's roots, their ancestors. It's being a healer, it's being a historian, it's being a lot of things. But shamanism also is connecting.
But when you
to
say
things.
healer, you're not talking about, drink this green liquid and
It's also a science behind it. Herbology has a science behind it.
one thing, but
Right.
I'm gonna pour this over you and sprinkle this at you.
Okay,
and spirits are
I'm
going.
not going to piss in the bucket and throw it on you and call you healed. Okay, because it just how you learn herbology. Many herbalists are in that tradition of shamanism or tribal medicine when they study it. It's learning how to connect to the earth, learning, understanding what's good and bad, but also understanding things spiritually, that there is a lot of energy around us. There's a lot of forces around us, and not all of it is good. So while, yes, this medication may heal you, it has all the same properties, active ingredient properties that herb has, that herbal remedy. But the difference is that the way that plant is structured, it does not give you side effects. That pill will give you all kinds of side effects. So there's a balance there when it comes to herbology, when it comes to shamanism, because also for a shaman, for me, I'll go to you and say, okay, I see that you're depressed. I understand that you're having these health issues, but I think your problem is spiritual. So then I will pray with you. We'll go to God. We'll call on the 4 archangels of war to guard your 4 corners in your home, your body, and we'll anoint you with oil. So there is a little oil there. There you go. But there's prayed over oil. Okay, I prayed over it. Now. We'll anoint you now. It's not tap water. It's not olive oil. Okay, it's been anointed.
Okay,
it's been anointed by Christ. It's been anointed by the Holy Ghost, and we call on God. And it's that's why I'm writing my book, because there's a lot of misconceptions to it. It's shamanism has helped me grow closer to Christ. It has helped me understand him, and it's helped me look at the Bible in a different way.
Okay.
It has helped me not to look at a lot of things literal, but see it from a different perspective. Because just as the Bible clearly states, we began with God and we go back to God. That's the idea of shamanism as well. The great Father created us, put us into this world, and in the end, he takes us back into himself.
All right.
And that's what my book is about, that beginning and end journey there.
All right. And how far is the book coming?
By the end of this year, I should have something published.
You ever published anything before?
I used to write for Executive Intelligence Review, EIR News, at my time working in politics as an activist years ago with Lyndon LaRouche. So
How'd you like being an activist?
I miss it actually.
You do?
On the campaign trail, causing mayhem. It was so much fun.
No. Oh, we're gonna keep you around me because I have to have somebody with all that energy.
You barely have any energy half the time.
Ugh.
I think you have. In fact, earlier you had a lot of Bernie moments and Biden moments.
That's been happening to me. You know, that's my biggest excuse. I said Biden can get away with it. Why can't I? All right. Well, let's see. Now you in your office.
5220 North Master Street. Yes.
North Master Street. You also have people that just randomly come in, right?
Yeah, everybody's welcome. There's actually I don't stop anyone from coming in seeking help. You can come in, ask whatever service we have. We try to help everybody. I do also work with Jose Sanchez, who does free HIV testing. Okay. And if you think you've been exposed, you can stop in. I can make a phone call and get a rapid test immediately. And if you do turn out to be positive, we can get you in treatment within 48 hours. We can get you seen by a doctor.
Beautiful.
We do regular free HIV testing. We make it as a big party. Everything's confidential. We're going to do a fundraiser type of setup. And that should be coming with this spring, actually.
All right. But because when I went to your office, there was some younger kids that came by.
Yes. Those kids, their parents aren't around. Actually, 2 of them actually live inside of an abandoned house. So I actually stay late hours sometimes to actually cook meals for them. And some of them I just try to figuring out a place for them to stay because the house that they were at, some of the places I find for them were temporary, so we have to find new places for them, those types of things.
Wow. And correct me if I'm wrong, but these issues that you're running into, they're pretty wide and reach out into all communities, Hispanic,
yes.
African American, Asian.
I have everybody that walks in those doors.
Yeah, and you have from immigration, drugs, all the way on through trafficking.
I don't think there's anything I haven't seen that comes through my door. You're laughing, but the scary thing is that I've had human trafficking. I've had streetwalkers who walk in, ladies in the night. I hate calling them prostitutes, but they're pregnant or they have some sort of disease and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with their baby. They walk in. I've had a few of them walk in barefooted because they need body wash, they need shoes, they need things, and I try to get them some stuff and get them But it's not a handout. I want to make this very clear. It's not a handout. I require everybody who comes in to do something back, to give something back into the community. They have to do something. They have to volunteer for flyers. They have to do translations if they're bilingual. They have to do something to give back to the community that's given to them. I do not believe in handouts. I have a zero tolerance on that. If you're coming in thinking that you're just going to get a handout, I can't help you because that's not helping you.
Right.
My job is to help you. If you're coming in there for help, my job is to help you, and that means I'm going to teach you how to fish instead of giving you a piece of fish.
No, that's very biblical. When they said it's easier to teach somebody how to fish, he can always feed himself.
Exactly.
Feed his family. But there are some scary times out there.
Yes.
I think that this is getting scary out there. Coming back, we're going to take another break, but coming back, have you touched on anything with the coronavirus and see what's going on yet in your running around? Just think about it and see where we're at, because I'm really concerned that coronavirus hits Kensington, hits Puerto Rico, hits certain areas. I'm really, really worried because the numbers are growing, and I thank God for the president doing the steps that he take. We'll be back with a little more.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We've been having some deep discussions and some things that we kind of chuckled about a little bit, but everything on this hour today has been pretty serious when it comes to the community and the activities that's going on. And I'm interested in knowing, Pastor Fisher, have you had anybody worried or concerned or thinking that they've come across or are part of this coronavirus that's been hitting them? It's pretty hard.
I don't think anyone in the city hasn't dealt with some sort of aspect of that. There's always some great aunt or someone's grandmom or someone's like, I got these symptoms. The reality is that in my community, what I deal with a lot is a lot of individuals aren't really as educated as you and I are. They haven't, many of them haven't completed high school. Very few of them going off to college. So their first line of information really sadly comes from Facebook and whatever blurbs that come from the news that they catch. And
that's not always good, especially
right.
if your TV tunes into CNN. That could be very
I said news.
problematical.
I said news. I said news, okay? Not make-believe. Actual factual news service.
Because you know, I have this thing that I always tell people. I say, if you listen to CNN, you realize you might as well watch Nickelodeon because they have more interesting information and
honestly,
more viewers.
I think my nieces have learned more from Nickelodeon than they have looking at CNN. I really do encourage kids to look at Nickelodeon to learn before CNN.
That's like Gusala Media. We get it out there right. Well, go ahead. Go back and what your chain of thought that I stole away from you.
There's a lot of misconceptions with the coronavirus. Even my uncle sent me this whole message thing about all you need is Lysol. So many people were running around talking about Lysol, and literally every bodega and every little shop in the area was out of Lysol. And I'm sitting there like, why? On the can of Lysol, it lists coronavirus. So I had to explain to people. 19 Covo is not the same, you know. In Covo is yes, you have the coronavirus, but it's not the same as this. It's a very large variant of that virus. A lot of the RN, the glucose, glycerin injection inserts inside the virus has been published on BioPrint, BioR XVID, which is a biology print service site, has even linked many of the cross sections of that virus to HIV.
Okay.
They say that's one of the reasons why it's very elusive. It gets into the system. There's a lot of things that a lot of biologists have been publishing online that isn't necessarily a great thing for a layman to just grab and read, but it gives you an idea that this virus is very vastly different than a normal coronavirus. So because of the large variant and the degree of the difference in it, is making it difficult to treat. So please.
Well, because I'm worried it's one thing to have a symptom, but you know, when you're living in the streets and you're sick and you're not feeling well, they're already not feeling well. You know?
That's why it's concerning what's happening in some places in West Philly, some places over in the Frankfurt area and Kensington Avenue, is that you have these areas where you have a lot, like you have people who just can't afford health care, very poor health conditions, and already addicted to some sort of opiate or drug, which their system is already flooded with things. It's going to heighten their symptoms. and they're spreading whatever they have. So
I'm wondering if one thing that we got to push, and I know that the government, our president, has really, I give him my handout because I think that he jumped on it when he needed to jump on it.
and the Democrats messed it up.
Yeah, well.
Hey,
you know.
he closed the borders. They say open it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have a saying that I can't say on the radio because I'll get slapped in the hand with it when it comes to him. But you know, I'm gonna reach out to the health centers and see how their issues are dealing with it because people need to realize that you can't reach out to a lot of things, but you know. The city, Philadelphia health centers here,
Right,
do
but the
a
testing
lot.
of is different. The testing of is different. It's not the flu test. It's
No,
not, it's
no,
not,
but I'm
it's-
saying,
it's
but
not-
they got to be preparing somehow.
They don't really have it yet. There's only been 9,000 or so of actual testing and treatment of it in the United States. We're really under it. We're actually behind the ball. New York had made an announcement the other day that they were going to start looking at private labs. They can't wait for the government because they have such a huge crisis on their hands.
Yeah, but I'm also afraid that if you start jumping, that somebody may not just. Well, we already know that they're politicizing the coronavirus to their advantage, but I'm concerned that if we push too fast and there's nobody checking and double checking, that we may come across with something that's obsolete, and then we got a problem where we're thinking things are okay and we get hit really hard. But listen, we got a couple minutes left. Is there anything you want to tell the public right now about your site, how to reach you, what's going on?
The Center of Universal Divinity is on Facebook. We're easily. I answer a lot of the messages that come through there. We're located right down the street from Alany High School, 5220 North Master Street, Philadelphia, PA 19120. I'm also part of the NAS, which is the Neighborhood Sub-Advisory Committee, through GPAS, which is the Greater Philadelphia Asian Social Service Center, and that's right there at 5th and Rescombe Street.
Okay.
And that's a community center where either location, you can most likely find me at either location, and you can also get help there even if I'm not there. There are people there who are qualified staffers, counselors who can help you with array of means of services that you need.
Oh, great. It's been a pleasure having you. We're going to be working a lot together.
Definitely.
I know that. And as you see, everyone, Pastor Philip is just full of all kinds of knowledge and resources. And he really, deep in his heart, tries to do everything he can to help the community. I mean, I've been around this guy when he's given out food, when he's been thinking about, when he's prayed for people, when he's dealt with people who are homeless, kids who live in abandoned houses. So you should really thank God. Sometimes, even if you just opening up a can of Chef Boyardee, because and I don't want to promote Chef Boyardee unless they're on my supporting me. But you should really thank God, because I seen this man get up at 9:30, 10 o'clock, literally in his office to feed a child who is homeless.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for everything you're doing, and I'm going to ask God to keep blessing you. I'm going to tell my audience out there, thanks for being here with me, and we're going to continue to give you as much service as we can. Love you. God bless. Take care. See you Thursday.
Blessings to all of you.